Two experts in ICF.
Yeah.
Decades of experience. One podcast.
Yeah.
Two hosts with a lot to say.
Look, I cannot sit through a struggle. I gotta get up and hustle. I gotta push through the pain, because really that's how you build muscle.
Welcome to the Build With ICF podcast with your hosts, Trevor Brown and Heather Herring Brown. Yep, they're a package deal. With over 20 years of ICF installation experience, Trevor can throw down some expertise on sales, marketing, and training. On the other side of the table sits Heather, aka the girl boss, and she's earned the title as the owner of an award-winning ICF construction company, a drafting and design company specializing in ICF. And the numbers? With a master's in accounting, she does that too. Sleeves up, boots on. This is the Build With ICF podcast.
I don't want nothing for free. I'm here to work. Been through the dirt. I've been through the dirt, yeah.
Well, good afternoon. I'm going to say afternoon, even though people could be listening to this in the morning, in the evening. I don't know.
Or in another part of the world where it's not afternoon.
Exactly. But I'm going to say good afternoon because it's afternoon where we are at while we're recording.
Yeah, this is a good one. We've got, again, didn't look up, it's 47? 47. I think we're episode 47. We always
You're the one that's supposed to look
we
that
always
one
forget
up.
to look that up, and so we always sound kind of stupid doing that. But yeah, I think it's 47. So this one's a good one. This is actually a podcast that we've been getting asked for quite a while. A lot of them are requests, but this one particularly, I've been bugging Jared and Mark to get on here for a while, and Mike too. So we've actually got the guys from Burmon. Well, first we'll start with Michael to discuss our Burmon hangers, because everybody's talking about all the different accessories that we run into, and everybody asks us what we use and how you attach floors. I mean, there's always questions around attachments and fasteners and accessories, and we have yet to get anybody on here. So we've got the guys from ClearCo on here that are distributors for Burmon, and we've got Michael from Burmon, and he's actually in Australia. So this is what time is it for you right now, Michael? And we're to give you some, relative to, we're like 3:00 in the afternoon here. So had to make our time work. So anyways, thank you guys for coming on. Super excited to have you on here. We've been, like I said, trying to put this together. Every time we see each other, we talk about doing this at different trade shows and stuff. So, but let's go ahead and do this in order, because we got guys from, kind of spread out here. We're going to start with Michael. And if you want to maybe give us a little bit of background and tell us a little bit about Burmon, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Burmon, we started in 2012. I started inventing product, and I didn't know what to do with it. I've been a builder since I was, in the building industry since I was 16. And that's when Stephen come on board and helped us market it and build the business. And we've been going ever since. 2017, we come to the States with our roof tie-down products. That's where we met Mark and Jared. And basically, we've moved on from since then. We had a good reaction from people, so we thought we'd try the American market, and then it's been successful so far. I think in about 2019, we were asked to design different products for the floor supports and different other products. So, yeah, we've been doing that since. And yeah, unfortunately, Stephen passed away in 2023 from pancreatic cancer. So I've always stayed in my construction business, and Stephen was always building the business and moving forward with America. And since his passing, it's been a bit difficult trying to run two businesses. But yeah, we're getting back on top of it again. So yeah,
cool. That's great. Well, let me jump ahead. I already have some questions for you, but I'm going to go ahead. Let's bring Jared and Mark in too. Let's bounce over to you guys. Tell us a little bit how you guys got involved in this stuff.
Well, we're very happy that Michael is turning into mostly an American person that's really helping us out. His accent's coming along pretty well. I got into the ICF business early 2000s. Would have been around 2003. We had a retail construction store up in northern North Dakota, small town. So we're always looking for something different. And I needed some credits for my Minnesota builder's license. So I went to a Logix builder's show, which was giving you class credits in Grand Forks, North Dakota. A guy named David Speedall was teaching the class. He did very good. And by the end of the class, I was hooked on ICF, and I I went and asked him if I could be a distributor, and ended up being a distributor for Logix up in North Dakota for all through the oil boom and whatnot. And then about 2014, we decided that we were in too small of a area. So we moved to Minneapolis and simply went with accessories. We had started ClearCo Fasteners in around 2005, along with our other retail lumber yard. My oldest daughter helped me get it going. And so we'd been working several years making wire hooks and selling cable ties to the ICF industry. And when after we'd moved to Minneapolis, then Stephen came over 2017 and met Stephen, and the Burmon product seemed like a wonderful product for the ICF industry and a perfect fit. So we've ever since we've been working with Burmon, and the products have worked out very well to this point.
It's awesome. It's amazing how you see like I said, you started just getting in there with the Logix class, and then all of a sudden it goes to the next. And it's interesting how I've seen everybody, we've kind of taken the same route as far as with our company with Innovative Building Products has been, it was almost through necessity. The more we got in it, we're like, well, we need this product for it. We need this product for it. And it was definitely, through necessity, we started adding other product lines because we couldn't get them anywhere. And then you start supplying other people. And I think that's kind of where you guys have got to. It sounds like starting as an ICF person, and then as these accessories come in and you start seeing these things, it's well, I'll start selling this product and this product and this product to help just make it life easier. And next thing you know, you're working with all the different ICF guys around. Have you guys, so now currently you guys are selling, you guys have a great website. You guys are selling pretty much, do you guys consider your territory the whole U.S.? What do you guys, your area of sales?
We would sell to all of the U.S. and all of Canada. We sell quite a bit up into Canada right now, and a lot down in U.S. as well.
Yeah, obviously being a Canadian product, that's a lot of where the industry is up in Canada. That's kind of the big push. Is it, Michael, how are you guys? I don't know much about the consumption of ICF and those things down in Australia. What's it like down there?
It's definitely not as big as in America. It's very small, and it's hard to get things over. Build a new company in Australia, especially with ICF. Even with our original tie down for roof frames, for roof trusses, we found it very difficult trying to change people's minds in Australia. That's why we come to America.
Mm-hmm.
I think they build about 1,000 homes maybe a year with ICF in Australia. Maybe it might be a little bit more now, but it's the industry is getting bigger all the time. But it's very slow growth for ICF.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So as far as the products go, you guys would say, I know with Burmon, what would you say, Michael, that is your guys' biggest ICF related product seller?
That's probably a question for Mark and Jared, but I'd say the roof tie down and possibly the joist hangers.
Yeah. Yeah, the joist hangers, I think, is what we use.
We use those the most.
A ton. Yeah, that's probably the biggest part of our usage for all those accessories. I laugh. When we first started, it was probably the first real accessory I saw come out was like a hanger, and I remember thinking back then I was kind of like, this means we were finally making it, like as an ICF manufacturer, when people were making, because we were doing, we were just cutting holes in the wall and putting double-headed, J bolts on them and screwing it to the wall and then having to come back, take the bolts out. It was just so time consuming. And I remember just thinking like, this is, there's got to be an easier way to do this. And then all of a sudden now it's like, I walk up to, the ClearCo booth at the, World of Concrete and see just all the array of different hangers and products and stuff that are, or have come out now. And it's like, okay, this finally everyone's clicking along with all of these. Like, what do you guys think through ClearCo? What are you guys seeing as far as like the ones that are really taking off and how it started and where you're at today?
Well, definitely on the Burmon stuff. Probably, joist hangers and the ledger brackets both would be, I normally say we sell about 50-50 on them.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely hit two different types of people. You hit the people that really love ledgers, and because of the ease of adaptability, you can put them up and work on them after the concrete set. Or you have the people that really like joist hanger brackets, like saving the money on not having to buy a ledger, not having to buy your ledger bracket. But then you have to do a bit more work ahead to make sure your joist hanger is installed correctly. So you definitely get your two different types of people. But that's the nice thing is there's the option you can have. Yeah, and then probably like Michael said, the roof anchor and the concrete embed roof anchor, and then joist hanger bracket would be definitely very popular.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we definitely see the most of. And there's coming from on that, you talk about, and I'm going to link everybody's, their websites and stuff in the podcast notes, so everyone will have their websites on there. Because I really encourage everybody listening to go and like check out the website. I know a lot of people have, because that's why all of a sudden they're calling like, "Hey, are you guys gonna have any of these guys on to talk about it?" So that is something that we definitely will put the link on there for everybody to go on and check out the different products and different things you have. So I think that there's the definite benefit, like I said, that's what I was going to ask you too, is like benefit, because there's a lot of people have used, I hate to say it, I'm in front of Michael, the S word, but the Simpson guys that came out with the other hangers. And that's the elephant in the room that people want to know. Like, that's what people ask me a lot of times, is like, what's the difference between, when we're talking about somebody that maybe is used to the Simpson hanger, what would they, what would be the differences, or can you explain to people what the differences are and the benefits of using a Burmon hanger instead? Maybe I don't know if Michael, I'll let you first if you want to chat about that. And then.
Well, the products have been designed, the ledger bracket, the joist hanger, for ease of installation. I've always designed things centered around what it's like for the installer and how much easier can I make it for that person to do it. So we supply all the drill bits. It's basically set it out, drill the holes, slip it in, pour the concrete, and you're ready to go. Where I've seen with the other products are actually a little bit more involved, where they put it in for the concrete pour, and then they've got a hell of a lot of screws to put in through the joist for the ledger to fit to the bracket. So that looks like a lot of hard work. Especially with the joist, with the ledger bracket, you can install the ledger by yourself. It's so easy. We've got the brackets on there, the templates, so you can find the holes when it's installed. We just try to make it as simple as possible. And we're always changing the products to upgrade if need. So, cool.
Yep.
So we try to upgrade the products if needed to make it easier again.
And you guys, so how does it work from a standpoint of like, as engineering and all of that stuff? Everything is you guys are just working through. I mean, you're not having any problems with any engineering over here. Is that a tough part of it when you're working with different country and stuff like that? I mean, have you guys had trouble with that, or has everything been pretty easy to get through all the codes and engineering and stuff?
Yeah, it's all been fully tested through Intertech. We haven't had any issues with the testing. It overperforms. So when we've tested the product, it's outperformed what our expectations were. So, but it's just trying to get through the bodies to have it certified. And that's where the lay. So, and also trying to deal with engineers and actually try to employ them to actually do work for you in America it can be quite difficult to try and keep them moving. So, or actually do some work for you. So I don't know what the issue is there. I've heard that a lot of other people have the same issues, but so it's not just us. So
yeah. If somebody does, I mean, if they run into any issues, are people able to give you guys a call and kind of walk them through that, or is it okay?
Yeah, they can probably email is better because of the time difference.
Right.
But of course they can always contact me. It's not a problem.
Yeah. Well, I'm scrolling through their website right now, and I'm looking at all the technical forms and the downloads and the info. It's all stuff that, as a draftsman and, somebody that draws ICF plans, this is all stuff that we go looking for when somebody brings up these products and different things. And they're like, when you're first talking to somebody and they're like, they want to do ICF and they're like, yeah, but how do we do this? Yeah, but, thing. And then you're like, oh, well, they have this and they have this. Which method would you like? Just kind of going through it. And I love finding all of this information, in PDF and DWG and all that stuff that we can add into our drawings.
Yeah, and we've been running into that even more and more, even with like inspectors and stuff.
Mhm.
They're cool with us. They're like, they don't want to see a book anymore. They're just like, do you just have a PDF you can send me? Like that's all that's all they care. They'll just they can look at on their phone and just like, okay, yeah, that works. So it's like 'cause that's always the big thing when you're looking at any kind of a product that I mean, this is not a new product anymore, but people think that ICF's a new product too. So I hear that all the time. Oh, is this new product? This is just happening? 30 years now, but so like a lot of these aren't new things, but it's new to some of these inspectors. And so that's one of the big things we talk about with like customers is saying that you guys need to make sure that you're discussing what you're using product wise, whether that be the ICF, the different attachments, whatever. We get into it with fiberglass rebar quite a bit. Like we try to make sure that we're updating the inspectors and building officials and stuff before we even get to that point. We don't want walking up to the job site and then going, can you get me the paperwork on this? It's like, like to know that ahead of time. So if we can, we try to get that, where it's a, ahead of time deal. So that's pretty cool. And I mean, yeah, you look through some of just sitting there scrolling through the website and different things. It's, pretty.
Yeah, I'm looking at all the different things that like stuff that I personally, in building ICF homes have not utilized.
Mm-hmm.
So just super cool.
So back to the ClearCo guys here. What are you guys seeing as far as have you guys everything's being adopted well and in all the areas? Are you guys running into that, or is everything pretty well approved?
Well, what I find, Trevor, on the ICF industry, and it's been that way since I've come into it. It's about teaching people. It's about enlightening them. It's about showing them how you can use the product and then use it easier and use different accessories to make your life easier, to make your project go better and smoother. And I think as the industry in a whole, we're making progress, really, from the blocks to the accessories to even the installers. We're making a lot of progress, and I see a great future ahead for ICF construction. As far as the engineering part of it, there too we have to enlighten some of them sometimes, but generally they can find the information they need from the Intertech reports and from the Florida Building Code reports. They can find everything that they need to use on the job. So it hasn't been a huge roadblock.
Not a big learning curve. It's with most of these guys, I think that's reassuring because I do agree with you. Like it's amazing to me just in the difference of time from when I started, 24 years ago, when we'd have to explain to every person that walked on the job what it was, how it worked, how it's going to stand up, and we always make the big joke. We always make the big joke that, people would walk up, how are you going to build a whole house out of styrofoam? And you're like, well, there's some concrete and some rebar inside of it that kind of do the heavy lifting, but it's just got easier and easier where people understand and have kind of adopted that. And so I think that's, it's helping us grow the industry for sure. What have you guys seen? Like, I mean, you're out working these shows. You guys are, I see you guys at all the shows at World of Concrete and, and out there beating the streets. What are you guys hearing from the booth side of it from people and just as a kind of an overall, I guess, of the ICF industry as somebody who's selling accessories to the ICF industry? What are you guys hearing out there?
Yeah, you get more and more people that show up and, oh, I used to build with this, or I had a house I lived in, and I loved the house and moved on, unfortunately, or yeah, I built my basement out of this years back. Starting to hear a lot more of those people coming up, and it's definitely a specialty product. So when anyone's come on, they've seen it before, they definitely, it catches their eye and they have to come up and talk about it. And
well, I think the more and more products that you guys have and, and you show at your booth, I think it provides legitimacy more. I mean, yes, ICF has all the code-ish things and they have, everything, the specs and the technical bulletins and all that stuff out there. But then when you start seeing these accessories that are made to go with it, they're like, oh, well, this is a bigger industry than I thought it was. Okay. Let me look at this a little bit more. And I just think it's very interesting to see, like my first ICF home, my installer, I don't know how long he had been doing it, but he was, going to cut holes in the the walls in the ICF to do the J bolts for the floor hangers and that. And we're like, no, there's other ways to do it. Let's look at these products. And he was like, oh, that's going to make it so much easier. And I'm like, well, yeah, let's make it easier. Let's make it faster. And then it also, it reduces the questions from the inspectors when you have a product like this that has, all the technical bulletins and has all the information from various countries, not just in the US or, whatever. They're coming from Australia into Canada, into the US. And it's just, it just adds legitimacy, I think.
Yeah. And it's been nice going to the trade shows, people coming up and seeing our products. Yeah, it's one thing to see it online, but it's a whole nother thing to be able to touch it and grab it. And we've been finding a lot more people, positive responses once they actually touch it, once they learn more about how it actually installs. Online, you kind of scroll through it and it's a bracket and you don't exactly know how it installs. And so you just keep scrolling and you forget about it and do what you've done for the last however long.
Do it the same old way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you see how it does.
Yeah. And, guys not wanting to change, they're like, oh, I've done it like this for this many years. I'm just going to keep doing that. And then, you show them one of your guys' brackets and show them how much easier it can be and how much time it can save on the job. And then they're, they're very interested.
Yeah, anything, oh, go ahead. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, that's right. That's been our issue in Australia the whole time. People just don't want to change.
Yeah.
And you work with half a day just with the timber frame industry, and you use the BHB the double top plate tie down for roof trusses, and you spend half a day with them, and they just, the start of the day, they're whinging and complaining, and then all of a sudden you show them how to use it, and they go, this is incredible. This is all I want to use from now on. You go, well,
That's what I was trying to tell you.
Yeah, once that people use it, they never go back. That's what my our products. So
yeah, I think that it's amazing. We go. Listeners hear me say this all the time, but like, it's worth repeating. But I was in the building industry when we stopped using solid wood joists for floors, with the first I-joist that came in, and people lost their mind. Like, it was so cheesy and stupid that they would never use it. I knew that, when you look at plumbing guys, I mean, I remember when it was galvanized pipe, and then copper came in and everyone thought, well, that's just crap. I'm not going to put copper in my house. And then Nelson, this plastic stuff came out. You'll never catch me putting plastic pipe in my house. Now every house is built with, PEX pipe. So it's amazing how it takes sometimes a lot to turn people a little bit into something that's different. I definitely feel like we're seeing that tipping point in the ICF industry. I mean, the fact that we have a podcast that gets thousands of people that listen to it every week is, kind of crazy in my mind, thinking that I thought I was the only guy out there that had any interest in ICF. And then, you go to someplace and, next thing you know, we're in, World of Concrete, and guys are like waving us down. Hey, you guys are the Build With ICF podcast people, like, it's comical to me that we're growing at that rate, but it's awesome because all of us that are, whether we're, distributors, installers, builders, suppliers of accessory products, it's just making it better for all of us. And the one thing I think is we've seen with ICF over the years, because we've been through a few of these downturns now, when things slow down, a lot of times in an economy, the ICF industry stays pretty good. Like, we stay pretty solid while we're going through that. We haven't had a lot of hiccups. It's kind of its own little creature because it's a different, subset of the building industry. So I'm going to jump away a little bit for Mike's going to have to just listen for a little bit, because I do want to get a little bit into the ClearCo, like what you guys do outside of, you do Burmon stuff, but I also want to talk about other stuff you guys do. What's, maybe tell us a little bit about the non-Burmon products that you guys promote and what on your website.
Well, the product that got us started in ICF accessories was actually cable ties. When I started building, we had cable ties that were snapping. So that prompted me to get my own cable ties, and they're American made, and they've worked well ever since. And then we got into making wire hooks for different ones of the different ICF blocks. They don't all use wire hooks in their blocks, but we do make wire hooks that fit most of the major blocks. And then we got into a specialty forming screw, an ICF. We call it the ICF screw. We have a 2-inch, a 3-inch, and an 1 3/4 inch, and they have a a loose washer. It has a knurl on the screw so that the washer can't fall off. It's got a loose washer so that when you're forming, the threads will grab into the plastic web very well. But when it hits that piece of wood, it'll just stop and spin, so it never buries the head, and you can always pull that screw back out again. It seems to make life quite a bit easier, and they can reuse them screws 5 to 6 times generally if they're careful and have a pail for them.
And you threaten your guys with their life that they don't just leave them on the ground, that you'll kill them if they throw them down. Yeah. That's what we have to do with our guys when you're using if you guys want to use the fancy screws, you got to pick them up. You don't just get to just drop them off the ladder and never pick them up again. Go pick them up. So just to back up a little bit, because we do have an interesting mix of people that listen to the podcast, where we have everybody from like first time people that have never touched an ICF that listen to the guys that have been doing it for 50 years. So we have a lot of different people that listen. But so to back up a little bit, to explain to people about the hooks, because I'm one of these guys that there's certain brands out there that you can't build without a hook in it, and there's some that you talk to the guys at Anvik, and like Victor when he created the. I was at Anvik when they came out with their hooks and started hooking, and that made Victor angry because he was like, I designed this to not need a hook, on purpose. But I've always said to people, it's such a cheap insurance policy. I mean, it's just such a nice little quick thing to hook onto things and just to keep that block tight and to keep any lifting from happening and stuff like that. So to kind of explain to people that haven't seen one, it basically is, there's some that are horizontal only hooks. There's some that are horizontal and vertical hooks. There's vertical hooks. There's different types of hooks, that are available, but it's all in to keep one block connected to another block, essentially, is what it's for. So that's when we talk about hooks that you guys are creating. That's what you're attempting to do, is just make it a little bit tighter. Why not spend a little bit extra money and make that pour go a little smoother? It's I had a conversation with a guy today that called in and said, he was asking me, is this too much? Is this overkill? And I'm like, well, if you've got it in the budget and it's going to make you a little less stressed when you're standing up on that scaffold pumping mud into the wall, it's probably worth it. Like if you can afford it, if it's in the budget, do everything, a little extra thing you can, and just make your life a lot easier. So a lot of what you guys make and sell is stuff to make your life easier. That's going to make the install go better. It's going to make the product end up better at the end. And so that's what I really like about it. And then too, like the cable ties and stuff you talk about, and it's so hard, and it's probably that American made thing, right? But it's so hard when you get some of these cheap ones that aren't American made, aren't good quality ones. And it's amazing how brittle they can get. And they just snap so easy, and you're like, and they're rated to, whatever 100 pounds, and you're like, how is that true if they're just breaking in my hand? So the need for a good quality product is a very important part of that.
Yeah, we've tested many cable ties over the years just to make sure we're still on the top, and every time, yeah.
I just figure I'm super strong, because if I can break them, then I must be really strong.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Heather's never met a cable tie she can't break. But
yeah, so now this year we started supplying fiberglass rebar, as well, and peel and stick waterproofing. Kind of the reason we'd gotten into both of those is we're looking for more avenues to sell to our existing customers as well.
How are you guys doing with the fiberglass rebar? We've had, we've had MST on, and we've talked to them. We've started using fiberglass rebar in our projects. We're having great luck with it. We just came back we were up at the Superform dealer conference. We were up there and got to sit on a panel and talk with their dealers and stuff up there. And it was amazing. We were getting, I was on the technical panel, and we got talking about fiberglass rebar. Really found out that it's kind of geographic. Like there's areas where people aren't using, are like, they're not getting able to pass it or use it at all. And then there's areas like ours where they're actually really cool with it. So what do you guys, how's the fiberglass rebar going for you guys?
We're still definitely, it's about 3 months old now. So it's definitely, we're just kind of starting into it, but we are getting pretty good feedback, pretty good responses. I guess the reason we kind of got into the rebar that we went into is it's got all the ICC reporting for the 3, 4, 5, and 6 bars.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's got all the engineered reports for placing it into walls up to 2 stories above the ground and a story below the ground. So that's kind of why we'd gotten into that one, so we didn't have to deal with extra engineers. As Michael said, they're a lot of fun to deal with sometimes.
Yeah, they are. We love our engineers that are listening. Thank you, but yeah, you're a lot to deal with sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, and inspectors too. I mean, it just helps all that. Just erase like you said, erase questions before they arise.
Right.
The more testing, the more reporting you can get. Definitely helps out. So
feel free to plug. What's the brand of fiberglass rebar you guys are using?
It's SF Tech.
Okay. And do you guys, how far are you distributing that?
So we're going to be we're trying to distribute more to like other resellers, not to the end users, because it fits in with our model. We mostly try to sell to resellers. So we'll sell that through the United States.
Really? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It when you get into the smaller ones, for us, it's a little harder because we're not exactly regional based. We like to sell to all the US, and so we try to go for the higher volume rebar sales, not the 100, 200 sticks per time.
Yeah.
It gets a little uneconomical to try ship.
Yeah, and I do see you guys have it all linked on your website and everything, so we'll put those links on for everybody so they can take a look at it and check it out when they, go check out your website. So great website, by the way, too. That's super important. I mean, we, again, just came back from a conference where one of the other speakers that was there, she was speaking about the importance of having a good website. And it's funny how I'm looking at all these websites because she told us what to look for on a website. And now we look for a website and I'm like, oh, they've got all the right things she said to do. Like up in the upper right-hand corner, phone number, request a quote, all that stuff right where it's so big, you can just hit a button. And so, no, great website, really shows well all of your guys' products and stuff like that. So
thank you. Yeah, my wife actually made that.
Really? Oh. Well, tell her great job. Tell her great job. It's very good. And it's like I said, I get frustrated in the ICF world because there's a lot of people that are, I'm not going to get on Facebook, or I'm not going to do a website. I'm not going to do, and it's really hindered our growth, I think, in our industry. So it's great to see when we have some young blood in the industry that are putting out good websites and getting things out there the way they should. So
yeah, I'm not a big call up someone to try get more information. So I definitely know that if it's on a website, you all go and look at it, but trying to call someone up for more information is not my strong point.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Just have it there for them when they need it. But so, Michael, we're going to go back to you now, kind of as we start closing this thing up. What is there anything that Burmon's working on right now? Any new products or anything like that you guys are working?
Top secret that you can share with us?
Yeah, top secret that we won't tell anybody.
We'll tell everybody.
Just between us and all the listeners.
We do have another product that's not centered around the ICF industry. It's actually for retrofitting joists for bouncy floors. You can use it in a new build to strengthen your I-joists or your lumber joists to take that bounce and really stabilize the floor. But that's about all we're working on at the present moment. Yeah, if someone asks us to develop something else that they feel there's a need for, then we'll look into that. But at the present moment, no. That's the only thing we're developing.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's when you're doing something right and you just can focus on putting more of it out there, that's kind of a nice thing too. So you guys are doing a great job. And now it's just a matter of supplying the growth that we're seeing. So that works out pretty good. How about you? How about you guys? Is ClearCo guy thing? You said probably the fiberglass rebar is your newest thing. Is there anything else you guys are looking at here, kind of in the future?
I think we should mention the Burmon buck brace. We haven't talked about that. Oh yeah,
we love those.
It takes away a lot of the wood out of bracing across your windows and doors. And it also lets you walk in. If you have a ground floor door, you can still walk in there after it's braced up. You don't have to be slipping through all the wood pieces there, but that has worked out very well for us. You still have to do your bracing vertically. You do have to have a brace up to the top there, but it'll do all your other braces.
Yeah, we used them. We were just consulting on a job. It was actually our first fiberglass rebar job too that we did up in northern Washington, and that was my first chance to get. I mean, I've seen them at your guys' booth, and I've seen it around. it was the first time to get to do it on a full job. What a slick, like it was so much easier to, just adjust. And I mean, like I said, they can go to the website and take a look at it, but basically for our listeners, it's it's slide adjustable, kind of, I can't remember if it's like a wing nut or just a nut, but basically you can tighten it down to the size of the buck, and then it 2 straps go back with holes pre-drilled in them that you can attach to your webs. And yeah, super slick, and just kept it really clean.
Extremely clean, which is so nice.
Yeah, it was a clean look, and and reusable. So like when you're looking at our listeners that are distributors or installers that are renting things out, if you're renting out alignment system or things, these are another rental item too that you can rent out because they're good quality. They last a long time. So you can continue to pull those back to your job, and rent them out to people as an income item as well. So kind of cool. I forgot about those.
Yeah, and I guess the new are along with the fiberglass rebar at the same time. We actually came out our distributor for a Protecto wrap, universal. So you don't a waterproofing peel and stick that you don't need a primer for, and it actually has been tested to stick down to 20 below.
Oh,
which is important in your area.
Yeah, exactly. And damp. We our favorite. Yeah, our favorite trade show trick is to throw a bunch of water on a ICF block, throw the waterproofing on at the same time, then it'll actually peel the beads off.
Yeah.
Still, so
yeah.
It's kind of a fun little trick to keep everyone entertained. Mostly me.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, well, as long as you're having a good time, that's all.
As long
that matters.
as you don't get it on your arm, right?
Yeah, and it's also really good for taking all the hair off your arms. So I've done that a few times with it. A wind picks up and all of a sudden sticks to your arm, and now I've got no hair on my arm for a while. So, no, that's awesome. But kind of wrapping up, I think we kind of went over the 3 questions a little bit. But
yeah,
I don't think we have anything because that's our future question thing. But
yeah, we have some Q&As or I guess listener questions for later, but for another episode. But yeah, this is really cool. I really I enjoyed coming to your guys' booth. I didn't make it to World of Concrete this year, but last year coming by and checking it out and just seeing all the stuff. And that was the first time that, I was picking up the buck braces and looking at those and saying, oh, that would be awesome. And then we actually got to use them. And it was great because when they were putting some of them on, they already had alignment up around the windows, and so you could still slide it behind the alignment in between, the foam and the alignment, and it worked really well. So
yeah, that's one of those real world things that you don't think about till you're in the situation. That all of a sudden there's a brace where you need to put to brace something back for the buck. Those things were just the wire, the flat metal was just slick enough. You could just slide it right behind it and put your screws in on the other side. It's pretty awesome.
It's great.
And we actually, a few of them, I actually bent over some things too. That was kind of adjustable. You could move them around. That was kind of nice. But so one thing it's
kind of funny.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just the same story. Real life story on the buck braces. Last year, I'd gone to help at a Habitat for Humanity in Columbus there. And was talking to the manager there, and they had all their windows and their doors all braced up, and went to pour their concrete. And there was a spot where they had a big old wood going the horizontal way, and they needed to get their concrete poured down. And we were talking, and he's like, actually, you just came, and I actually need those things right here for this exact pour. So
timing was perfect.
Yeah, it was pretty ideal. I mean, because before that, you didn't. I saw this is great, but then all of a sudden see places where it actually is very useful is very nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, well, we'll get wrapping things up here. Michael, is there anything that you would like to say before we get out of here and let you get about your day, since it's for morning time over there?
No, I'm all good. I think. Thank you very much for having us on your podcast. It's really good to see you.
That's great. Thank you. I appreciate you making the time to come on here and talk about it. And I really do. I mean, as a compliment to you and what you guys are doing there, it's as someone who's around the industry a lot, your guys' name is very well spoken of, and your products are very well received by everybody. So that's the true test of it, is you can have great sales team and marketing team telling people it's great. It's like, are people using it? And they're definitely out there using it. So it says a lot for your product and your company. So it's, we appreciate it as an industry, the guys that are making our job a little bit easier. So thank you for doing that. And thanks for taking the time to come on. So Jared and Mark, what's your closing thoughts on everything here?
What I really like about this industry is the people involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
And getting around to different shows and meeting up with you even up at Superform in Pincher Creek. It was awesome to meet the people in the industry. It's a very, very honest industry. I feel so. I love the industry and I love the product, and I like the fact that we can support it with different accessories.
Yeah, and just makes everybody, I mean, literally makes people's life easier. You know, I mean, that's the thing. Like, we can get by doing it without some of these things, but the products that you guys are supplying are making life easier and faster. You know, I mean, even if you want to go into like affordability and what makes a house affordable, a lot of it's time. You know, if we can build things a little bit quicker and save some time on things, that's going to make the house a little more affordable. That's kind of those products that are, you know, what you guys are doing. So that's pretty awesome. We appreciate it as installer guys out there, that's for sure. And I know you guys hear it from your customers, everything that's going really, really well. So are you guys all there? You guys said I didn't do my research on this, but are you guys out on social media, Instagram, stuff like that? Or you guys mostly run everything through your website?
No, we have a Instagram and Facebook page on there. And we do go on to Facebook on the Facebook chats every so often. We don't need to do the Burmon stuff near as much because we get a lot of people that really appreciate it. And when a question comes up, before I even see it,
they speak up for you.
So
that's always good. There's another good pitch for Burmon and what they're doing is when the Facebook groups, because those Facebook groups can be some real testing times to go in there. I go in because I want to be able to answer a question. Half the time I end up angry because I'm listening to people say stuff that maybe may or may not be true or accurate. So it drives me crazy, but it is kind of fun when you see a product that you use, you know, like all of a sudden 2 or 3 people from all over the country or different parts of the country say, oh, this product's great. Like, you should use this. And I definitely see Burmon's name in there a lot and a lot of the products that you guys sell. So that's really cool. But so we'll definitely link everybody up in the show notes. I'll have everybody's link for Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. So we'll put that in there to get hold of you guys. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and do this. I know it took a little bit of finagling for all of, you know, I didn't even think about time changes and stuff. So
Yeah.
I was really glad that you guys brought that up because
It's
I'm
a
like,
day later for Michael
I know. I'm like,
than it is for us. That's the crazy thing that you think about.
Yeah.
he's living in the future.
Yeah.
wow, he's from the future.
He's heading for another coffee, and it's 5:00 over here.
There's coffee hour and there's happy hour. Like, half the people are going to grab a beer, and the other half of the call are going to grab a coffee. So, no, that's great, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. And like I said, this was something people were asking for. I'm really glad, and we'll link everything up and tell people if they have any questions or to reach out to you guys and everything, and kind of keep doing that. So, for our listeners,
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Check us out on all our socials. Build with ICF. You can email us info@buildwithicf.com.
yeah, keep suggesting episodes like this when you guys have questions about products. I mean, that's really where we want to try to go with this, is continue to bring education to people about new products out there, and that's going to make the industry better. So don't hesitate to shoot us an email or shoot us a DM or something on Instagram, or hit us up on Facebook. So haven't got on TikTok yet. We have a TikTok. I haven't done that. I'm not that cool.
We got a Reddit.
We need to hire younger people, I guess, and we could have the boys do it. But
Yeah.
I haven't done any dances or anything yet, so we'll figure that out. But anyways, all right, guys, we'll close it up here. And if you appreciate everybody listening, and thank you guys for coming on, and we'll talk to you next time.
See you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Trevor.